Let's have a look at how we can fuel our brains. Now think about it, our brains are always on. It takes care of our thoughts, our movements, our breathing, our heartbeat, our senses, and it works 24/7, so even while we're asleep. Now this means your brain requires a constant supply of fuel, and that fuel can only come from the foods that we eat. And what we eat makes a big difference to how our brain functions. So what we eat directly affects the structure and function of our brains, and ultimately your mood, your memory, your motivation, your IQ, your ability to focus, learn and remember. Lots of studies have found this correlation between a diet high in refined sugars and impaired brain function, and even worsening of symptoms of mood disorders such as depression. Now you'll be pleased to know that what we call brain foods are actually just regular real food that we were actually eating before the 1900s. The food that we're actually as humans designed to eat before the Industrial Revolution took hold of our food manufacturing. Now these brain foods are something similar to our evolutionary diet as hunter-gatherers. It's perfect fodder for our brain. Meat, fish, eggs, nuts, seeds, berries, fruit, vegetables. Now we've also evolved on grains as well. Now ironically, these sorts of foods are the foods that allow our bodies to operate at full capacity, and we call them brain foods. They are just simple, real foods. Now, did you know that the dry weight of our brain is actually made up of 60% of fats? Now, some of the best sources are from oily fish. These fats that are particularly helpful are omega-3 fats, things like salmon and mackerel. These all contain omega-3, and however, as I'm sure you know, our seas are polluted with mercury and other toxins, so it's far better to consume smaller fish that have a shorter lifespan and less body mass to accumulate toxins, so we don't advocate too much tuna, for example. The fish that we recommend are wild Alaskan salmon, sardines, pilchards, trout, mackerel, herring, anchovies, as opposed to tuna. And ideally a couple of portions a week. Try mackerel pate on toast, for example, very easy to make. Salmon fish cakes. Now tinned fish is great and it's super inexpensive. Shellfish and whitefish are also great sources of nutrients for the brain. Aim for one portion of white fish a week, ideally two. The brain is a super hungry organ. In fact, it uses more energy than any other organ in our body. Up to 20% of all our nutrient intake goes to fuel the brain. So, as well as essential fats, it requires protein. Now, protein deficiencies in our brain slows down the development and lowers our cognitive ability, our brain function. So a lack of protein literally depletes chemicals in the brain that control mood, appetite and energy levels. We also need various vitamins and minerals, particularly iron for brain development, zinc for our memory, vitamins B and D, and also really important for memory and concentration. Magnesium, flavonoids in those colourful fruits and vegetables, polyphenols that we find in dark berries and other fruits are really helpful. Choline from eggs and nuts. Now, don't worry if you don't eat fish, because you can get all these important omega-3 fats from algae supplement or a really good clean fish oil supplement too. Let's have a look at